So, how do you go out on your 50th anniversary? That's easy. You go out with a bang, not with a whimper. Part 1. The production. Ryuhei Kitamura accepted the offer to direct the film due to being unsatisfied with the Godzilla films of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, stating, "I loved the Godzilla movies back in the 70s, but not so much the ones released in the 1980s and 90s. Godzilla movies back in the 70s were never just monster movies. There were always messages and themes that reflected the time and world within which they were made. And they combined it so well with straight-out entertainment. They lost that touch in the 80s. Kitamura has compared the film to that of a musician's best-of album, stating, "We picked lots and lots of the best elements from the past and combined it in a new way. It's what I love about Godzilla and what I don't love about recent Godzilla movies." Like previous Godzilla movies, this movie makes extensive use of practical effects rather than CGI. Good decision there. The special effects were directed and supervised by Eiji Asada, who also directed the special effects for the previous movie Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Commenting on the special effects, Kitamura stated that at the film's world premiere in Hollywood, "We stick to the special effects. That's what we've been doing for 50 years, and that's why Hollywood doesn't do it." So on the first meeting, I told everybody that we stick to the special effects and the live action instead of CGI. So it's a CGI monster Hollywood Godzilla versus our man-made live action monsters. Nice foreshadowing there. The final result, no pun intended, is Godzilla Final Wars, which was released on December 4th, 2004. And as usual, I will be taking a 2-minute break. Be right back. Jesus Christ, it's like every single time I listen to this piece of music, it sounds like we're in war. Fitting, because that's what we are in. Anyway, let's get on with this plot, shall we? By the way, spoilers are up ahead, you have been warned. Years after his initial attack on Tokyo in 1954, Godzilla is entrapped under ice in Antarctica after a battle with the original Kotango. In later years, environmental disasters caused the appearance of giant monsters and superhumans, dubbed mutants, who are then recruited into the Earth Defense Force, EDF, to battle the monsters. Man fighting monsters. This is the complete opposite of humanism. An upgraded Kotango, commanded by Captain Douglas Gordon, played by Don Fry, I'm not kidding, battles and destroys Manda. Remember him, but the ship is wrecked in the process, and its captain is suspended from the EDF for decking a superior officer. Yikes. Mutant soldier Shinichi Ozaki is tasked with guarding a UN biologist, Dr. Miyuki Otanashi, who is sent to study a mummified monster. They are teleported to Infant Island, where they encounter the Sobijin, various of Mothra, who reveal the mummified monster as Gigan. Yikes. An alien cyborg sent to destroy the world, of course, who was ultimately defeated by Mothra. Okay. They warn that a battle between good and evil will happen soon, and that Ozaki must choose a side. I wonder when he's going to make that decision. Later on, probably. All of a sudden, giant monsters begin attacking several major cities. Let me list them all for you. Rodan attacks New York City, glad he doesn't have Iran's theme, shut up. Anguirus attacks Shanghai. Zilla, yeah, for some reason he's in this movie, attacks Sydney. King Caesar attacks Okinawa, fitting. Kamakuris attacks Paris. Ooh, turning French, I see. Ooh. Kumonga attacks Phoenix, shut up motorcycle. Ebra attacks Tokai, to which he probably wanted to be boiled anyway. And Hedera attacks an unknown location. By the way, that unknown location is somewhere near Tokyo Bay. The EDF, as usual, engage the creatures, who then mysteriously vanish at the same moment when an alien mothership appears over Tokyo. That's not suspicious at all. The aliens, named Exilians, sorry about that, warn that an incoming planet called Gorath will soon impact the Earth. A peace pact is signed between Earth and the Exilians. Meanwhile, Minera, Godzilla's son, is found in the forest near Mount Fuji by a boy and his grandfather. Of all the things that you brought back, why did you bring back this little turd? However, distrusting the Exilians, Ozaki, Miyuki, and her sister Anna discovers that the Gorath that they saw is actually a hologram and that the aliens have replaced several members of the EDF with duplicates. They should have made a backup plan. Donkeys they are. After their kindness exposed, the Exilian controller, who calls himself X, very unoriginal, or as I like to call him, Kid X, come at me bruh, during an interview on a radio show, kills his superior to assume command, revealing the plan to use the humans as a food source while taking control of all of the mutants, except for Ozaki, sticking plot armor, through a property in their DNA known as M-base. Main character immunity. Don't you just get tired of it? Anyway, Kid X also has the monsters placed under his control through M-base in their DNA. How? And Gigan awakens to have them to wipe out the EDF. Permanently, I guess. The group escapes, although Gigan pursues them. Gordon convinces them to travel to Antarctica to release Godzilla. Finally, he's being mentioned, who is immune to Exilian control through its lack of N-base and easily completely destroys Gigan. Boom, headshot. The Kotango then guides Godzilla, who just follows them, into battle with the other monsters and returns to Tokyo to engage the Exilians. Oh, by the way, he is going on a complete kill streak. Gigan, gone. Zilla, completely gone. Kumonga, gone. Kamakuris, gone. Rodan, Anguirus, King Caesar, gone. Hedera, gone. Ebra, gone. Jesus Christ, talk about a one-man army, or a one-monster army, in this case. After penetrating the mothership, wow, that sounded sexual, the group is captured and brought before Kid X, as he summons Gorath to Earth. Though Godzilla destroys Gorath just before it crashes, it unleashes Monster X, and the two monsters battle, properly this time. Suddenly, an upgraded Gigant with chainsaws for hands aids Monster X but is intercepted by Mothra, who is gravely wounded while managing to destroy the cyborg. Noble of her. Meanwhile, in the Exilian ship, Kid X reveals that both he and Ozaki are superior beings known as Kaiser, by the way, Kaiser means emperor in Japanese, the more you know, who are powerful beings distinct from regular mutants, born on rare occasions when human DNA and M-base are combined, before directly taking control of Ozaki to turn him against the group. Traitor. A fight breaks out, and Kid X loses control of Ozaki due to the Sobigen's blessing. Kid X is fatally wounded during the fight, but he triggers the ship's self-destruct sequence as the group falls back to the Gotengo moments before the mothership explodes. What a puss. Meanwhile, back on the ground, Godzilla and Monster X continue to fight as the latter transforms into its final form, Kaiser Ghidorah. Finally see Ghidorah in this movie. It wouldn't be a Godzilla movie without Ghidorah, wouldn't it? Kaiser Ghidorah initially gets the upper hand, but Godzilla emerges victorious in the end. In a spectacular fashion, by the way. Minera shows up at the scene and convinces Godzilla to not destroy the Gotengo. The survivors watch Godzilla and Minera return to the ocean. I'm going to take a 3-minute break. In the meantime, here is fight. Let's just look right into my final thoughts. The movie is a giant cluster of everything happening at once. Now, don't get that the wrong idea. I do enjoy this movie. I really enjoyed it, but I do have problems with it. One of them being the story. You guys know this about me, and for those of you who do not know, I am a guy who values story over action. I don't mind action as long as it's not too much. I think that's the main problem that I have with this movie. It has too much action and not enough time to focus on the characters and their development. And by the time that the final battle actually happened, I was feeling like one of those people during WrestleMania 35 sitting there for over 6 hours, meaning being drained of piss and energy. This also extends to the human characters as well. While they are acted well, I'll give you that. Dawnfire is a hit or miss for me. They don't get enough development. And the development that they do get kind of felt forced. Moving on to the monsters. Jesus Christ, there are far too many of them. Also, ignore the noises in the background, by the way. So let me just summarize them all in just one single paragraph. Godzilla is literally Bruce Lee in this movie and is way too overpowered for my taste. Although I do like the subtle callback to the 70s Godzilla suits. I'll give you that. Also, lay off the roids, will ya? Monster X is very unique. Kaiju Ghidorah, unfortunately for me, however, is not. Gigan plus chainsaws equals welcome to the 90s. Or the 2000s, sorry. Wrong decade. Also, it's amazing, I'll admit. Glad to see Zilla as a different creature, but he is way too weak. Mothra in this movie is completely underutilized. I'm glad to see Rodan and Geras and Kixis are back, but what are Ebra, Kumunga, Kamakris, and Hedor doing here? They just fell out of place. And those are all my thoughts in a nutshell. It is a very sad day indeed, as this is the final time, no pun intended, that we will be able to see suits in a major kaiju film. With that said, the practical effects in this movie are good. Completely overblown, it looks like a fucking Michael Bay movie, but still good nonetheless. Some CGI effects are iffy at times and decent in others. The music by Keith Anderson and company is okay for me. It fits the movie quite nicely. Then again, I do prefer orchestra over techno. However, the best track that I like is Godzilla's theme. A choir first, followed by a bombastic guitar and orchestra. Overall, Godzilla Final Wars is a good send-off to the Millennium Era and a decent celebration of the then 50th anniversary, earning my final grade of 75 greatest hits out of 100. It's good enough for a double rent. Now, even though this movie did terribly bad at the Japanese box office, it actually did something in Hollywood. In November of 2004, when the movie premiered on Hollywood Boulevard, yeah, I'm not kidding, Godzilla was greeted by his fans here in the US and received his name on the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, again. And apparently he had to stomp on other names in order for his to be, well, that big. Jesus, greedy he is. Jesus Christ. Okay, only 9 more movies to go, and thankfully for me, since I'm stuck back in time, I get to stay here in the United States. Hopefully I don't get to run into myself in the past. That would create a humongous paradox. Anyway, that'll about do it for this episode. If you want more thoughts and First Amendment opinions on kaiju movies, video games, and anime, then stay tuned right here on the Brumakian podcast, and please subscribe to Brumakian Productions for more juicy content. This has been Demetrius signing off, and hail to the king.